Hello everyone and welcome back to the course. So far we have learned what RAG is, why it's important, strategies of chunking and retrieval, and prompt engineering in RAG. Now it's time to connect all the pieces together. In this video we are going to build a complete mental model on the entire RAG pipeline from start to finish. By end of this course you will understand exactly what happens when a user asks a question in a RAG application. We'll cover document loading, text splitting, embedding generation, vector databases, retrieval, and generation. And finally, we'll see how everything works together in a real world flow. Let's get started. So first, what is an end-to-end RAG pipeline? Imagine you are building a chatbot for a company. The company has thousands of pages of documentations, PDFs, manuals, support articles, and internal knowledge bases. A normal large language models like GPT doesn't automatically know the information. So how do we make the model answer questions using company specific data? That's exactly what RAG does. Instead of forcing the model to memorize everything, we store information externally and retrieve relevant pieces whenever needed. Think about it like an open book exam. A student doesn't need to memorize every page. They simply find the right page and then use it to answer the question. That's exactly how RAG works. The pipeline generally looks like this: documents to splitting text and create embeddings and then store in a vector database and then user query and then retrieve relevant chunks and then generate the final answer. This is the complete RAG flow. Now let's break each step down one by one. So coming to the first step is document loading. Every RAG system starts with data. Without data, there's nothing to retrieve. The first step is loading documents. These documents can come from many sources like PDF files, Word documents, text files, CSV files, websites, databases, Notion pages, conference pages, Google Docs, or even your company's knowledge base and support articles, everything and so on. For example, suppose you're building a medical chatbot. Your data source could be medical guideline PDFs, research papers, hospital documentation, healthcare manuals. The first task is simply reading these documents and converting them into text. In LangChain and Llama Index, this process is called document loading. Think of document loaders as a translators. The job is to take different file formats and convert them into clean text that the system can understand. For example, a PDF loader reads PDF, a web loader extracts website content, a CSV loader reads spreadsheets, a database loaders pull records from databases. At the end of the step, we have the main raw text. But we are not done yet. And the next, why we cannot store entire documents. Many beginners make this mistake. They think, why not just store the entire PDF? So let's imagine a PDF contains 300 pages. That's a massive amount of text. When a user asks a question, searching through giant documents becomes difficult. Additionally, embeddings work better on smaller chunks. Retrieval becomes more accurate. Search becomes faster. Context becomes more relevant. This brings us to the most next step is called text splitting. And this is the second step. In text splitting, it is one of the most important parts of a RAG pipeline, and surprisingly, many people underestimate it. Let's understand why. Suppose you have this paragraph: artificial intelligence is transforming industries worldwide. Machine learning is a subset of AI that enables systems to learn from data. Deep learning uses neural networks with multiple layers. This paragraph is short, no problem, but imagine a document containing 100 pages. Creating a single embedding for all 100 pages would be terrible. Why? Because one vector would represent too many topics. The meaning becomes diluted, so instead we split documents into smaller chunks. For example, chunk 1 may be introduction to AI, chunk 2 will be machine learning concepts, chunk 3 will be deep learning concepts. Now each chunk has focused meaning. This improves retrieval quality significantly. And one important concept is chunk size. Chunk size determines how much text goes into each chunk. Too small, you lose context. Too large, you lose precision. A common range is 300 to 1,000 characters or 200 to 500 tokens, depending on the use case. There is no universal perfect number, it depends on your application. And next is a chunk overlap is another major important concept. Let's say a sentence starts in one chunk and ends in another. With overlap, important context might be lost. Example, chunk 1, machine learning algorithms requires large data sets. Chunk 2, to achieve high accuracy. See the problem, the ideal idea gets split. To solve this, we use overlap, maybe 50 or 100 characters overlap between chunks. This precise context, many production rack systems really heavy on chunk overlapping. And the next step three is embedding generation. Now we have chunks, but computer doesn't understand text the way humans do. They understand numbers. So we need to a way to convert text into numerical representations. This is where embedding comes in. Embedding is a simple a list of numbers representing semantic meaning. For example, the cat is on the mat. So might becomes some random numbers, and a kitten is resting on a rug might become some random numbers here, the same how you're able to see here on the screen. Notice something interesting, the wording is different but the meaning is similar, therefore the vector becomes close together. That's the magic of embeddings. They capture meaning rather than the exact words. So why embeddings matters here is like, imagine a user asks, how can I reset my password? But the document says step for changing account's credentials. Keyword search might fail here because the words are different. Embedding search succeeds because the meaning is similar. This is a huge advantage of semantic search here. Popular embedding models today, there are many embedding models. Firstly, example includes like OpenAI embeddings, BGE models, E5 models, sentence transformers, coherence embeddings, Google embeddings. The model converts every chunk into a vector. Then they choose vectors are stored in for a retrieval, which brings us to the next step is step 4, vector database. Now we have thousands or maybe millions of embeddings. Where do we store them? A traditional SQL database isn't optimized for similarity search. We need something specialized. That's where vector database comes in. A vector database stores embeddings and allows efficient similarity search. Think of it as a Google search for vectors. Instead of searching words, it searches meaning. Popular vector databases like Pinecone, Files, Chroma, Vivid, Miles, Ordnance, a lot. Each has its own strengths. Some are cloud based, some are open source, some are optimized for scale, but their goal is the same: store vectors and retrieve similar vectors quickly. Why? Usually, each record contains the vector, original text chunk, metadata. For example, vectors is see, this is the vectors and the text is the password reset instructions. Metadata here is like document name, page number, source URL is a metadata. This metadata becomes useful later, but whenever we are retrieving the similar information. And the step 5 is user query. Now let's move to the runtime phase here. Everything so far happened during indexing. Now a user arrives, the user asks, how do I reset my account password? Or how do I reset my password? What happens here? The query follows almost the same process. First, the query is converted into embeddings. Remember, documents were converted into embeddings. Now the query is converted to. This allows comparison in vector space. And the step 6 is retrieval. Now comes this is the retrieval stage where the systems take the query vectors and compare it against stored vectors. The goal is simple: find chunks that are semantically closest, not exact words, closest meaning. For example, user asks, how do I reset my account password? Retrieved chunk might be to change your password credential, navigate to settings, and select password reset. Even though the words differ, the meaning is similar. Therefore, the chunk gets retrieved. Usually, the system retrieves top 3 chunks, top 5 chunks, top 10 chunks, depending on configurations. These chunks become context for LLM. Why retrieval is so powerful is like without retrieval, the model guesses. With retrieval, the model answers using real information. This reduces hallucination significantly, and the model no longer relies purely on memory. Instead, it references actual documents. That's one of the biggest advantage of RAG. And the stage 7 is LLM generation. Now, This is the final stage where the generation happens. The retrieved chunks are combined with the user question. The prompt might look like, say, context, password reset instructions. How user question might be, how do I reset my account password? Answer based only on the provided context. The LLM receives both. Now it's generate a final response. The answer becomes to reset your password, open account settings, like that. So it will provide a sequential following verification steps, and it will try to provide you a greater response. Notice something important is the model didn't retrieve information, the vector database did. The model's job is only to generate a natural response. This separation of responsibilities is what the makes rack most powerful. So let me complete the complete flow recap. Let's review entire journey. Step 1, load documents. Step 2, split documents into chunks. Step 3, generating embeddings. Step 4, stored vectors in a vector database. Step 5, user ask a question. Step 6, convert questions into an embedding. Step 7, retrieve similar chunks. Step 8, send chunks plus questions to LLM. Step 9, generate final answer. And that's the complete rack pipeline. Everything you see in a modern AI assistants follows same and some variations of this workflow. Real world example, let's imagine we're building a university chatbot. Data sources is student handbooks, admission guides, course catalogs, fee structured PDFs, university policies. The documents are usually loaded and the text is gets splitted, embeddings are created, vectors are stored. Now a student asks, what is the deadline for scholarship applications? The query becomes an embedding. The vector database retrieves scholarship related chunks. Those chunks are sent to LLM. The LLM generates a clear answer. Simple, fast, accurate, scalable. This is exactly how production grade RAG systems operate. The biggest mistake beginners make is focusing only on large language models. In reality, a successful RAG system depends on every stage: good document loading, good chunking strategy, high quality embeddings, efficient vector search, strong retrieval, well designed prompts. When all these components work together, you will get a powerful AI system capable of answering questions using your own data. And now you understand the complete end to end RAG pipeline from the document ingestion all the way to answer generation.